Here we've got a Savage Model 69 RXL. Let's see if I can get that up here for you guys to see. 69 RXL Series E 12 gauge. This was a issued piece for different police departments and stuff like that back in the day. And it's got some extracting problems, and just from looking at it, I don't find anything wrong with it just by looking. They look like they're in pretty good shape. They look like they've got, you know, good shape to them. They're not worn out or anything. But this is extremely hard to rack. The slide gets real stiff right back here. It's dirty, it's gunked up. And so I'm going to go out on a limb and say that most likely, just by tearing this one down and cleaning it, we're going to solve a lot of problems. So we'll see here. Getting the stuff out of the way here, and we'll start this one. Alright. First thing I'm going to do on this one is pull this piece. And a lot of these are hand tight. If you need to, you can stick something through there, punch or whatever. Loosen this off your barrel or barrel lug. And you know you're going to have some spring pressure there. Go ahead and get our spring out of there. And our magazine tube will just slide right on. Right on out. Got your follower in there. It can stay in for now. Now this, you've got a single arm holding onto your pump there. So with that, you'll have to get the rest of this loose before you can get it out of there, which is no big deal. Go ahead and remove our stock. See how tight it is. There we go. Yeah, a good bit of grease and caked up stuff in there. Wipe all that off a little bit. And now we're going to undo these two screws. Make sure that your hammer is, that you dry fired it. It's decocked. It'll make things a lot easier when pulling it apart. Normally I'd put something underneath there on prime, but this one's seen better days for sure. So I'm not too worried about it, just for no harder than I was getting ready to pry on that. Now we'll change screwdriver sizes. Get the proper one. got a pin here that we will knock out. We're going to go from the right side to the left. And I will rest this up on the pistol grip over here. Now sometimes on ones like that, my good punches aren't long enough, so I'll run a secondary punch in there. There we go. That should allow our trigger I'm talking like my daughter. Trigger assembly to come right out. Alright. Put some of these parts over here. Try and go ahead and wipe off the parts a little bit as you put them into your storage container. That'll really help you out with just overall tidiness and cleanliness. Your spring, on springs like this, these long ones, you can coil them. If you just don't kink the wire, you can coil it a little bit and coil it around into your container, but you don't want to kink it. Now, for getting the follower out, just tap it down there. And if you have any question about which end is which for your magazine tube, if you look right here, you see the dimples? That is the end, that is the front, that is the part that goes out by the barrel lug, towards the end of the barrel. Wipe off our follower. See how oily we are. You know, a while back that was maybe just commonplace. You know, that's what proper oiling and lubrication was. But nowadays, with things like frog lube, slipstream, some of these other high-end lubes, we don't have to lube like that anymore. You don't have to run the risk of having all kinds of stuff get gunked up in your gun and, you know, getting everything that they come in contact with greasy, oily, dirty, nasty. Now, this is a fairly straightforward system, not too unlike the 870 setup. You see in there, you can see where your main spring is down there, for your hammer spring. Pretty much all the same components, just looks a little different the way it's set in here. And I'll probably do a follow-up video on this trigger system. But for now, I just wanted to do the general stripping and disassembly. Now that little piece there just flopped down and I didn't see where it came from. We will have to find it. Now it appears to me that everything is going to go right out the back. Now let's see here. See if I'm right. What I did was I pried right here on the end of our action rod there. And that, let that loose from your carrier down inside of there. Right down in there. What I'm doing here, sorry about it, I'm trying to keep this in the frame there. Slide that rod out. Now we've got our bolt and everything. Here, I'll turn it around for us. Again, this is looking at the back of the receiver. Got our carrier. Everything, I'm just sliding it right out the back. And there it is. Goes right down those grooves right there. And I'm going to flip this the proper way. This is the way it goes. That's your bolt face. Now you've got some springs and detents here. Flip it over. Lift that carrier up and off. And if you can see right here, there's a slope in that middle part of the carrier. That mates up to that right there. You got a spring right in there. This, keep in mind, this is upside down right now. That fits in like that. And then this fits into the back of the carrier. This is the front. There's your extractors right there. And this is some sticky grease that's on here. Sticky stuff. We still have a shell catch of some type inside there. And it's almost like some type of, like a Zeus type fitting. I'm going to leave that alone for right now. I'll go ahead and knock this pin out here of our bolt and everything. This is after it's come out of the ultrasonic cleaner. I wanted to clean it up, get some of that sticky tacky grease that was on there off of it. And let me turn my viewfinder around here. Alright, you'll see here again, this is the front bolt face, and what I'm going to do is, you can see this recess, how that roll pin is a little bit out farther there. I'm going to go ahead and punch it through like the way that it's already going. Take advantage of it already being moved out a little bit. Alright, it was a little rough to get out of there. It was just in there tight. But again, there's the front. And I got the pin sitting in there, and I got my thumb on here to show you how this all comes out. This being the front, this is the tail end over here. This is didn't. So anyways, where was I? The way this all goes in, and this is upside down right now. Right there, when you get that pin out, it's going to allow this piece right here, it's kind of like a striker, to come out, and it's all spring loaded. And now remember, this is upside down, and your notch there actually goes right there inside of it. That pin's what holds that in. This is the part that comes in contact with your hammer And if you've got any question as to which side goes where when you put it back together, first of all, you can look, see this side here, see how it looks, how good it looks. Got a good edge and everything, good bevel. Look at this side. This side you can tell it's been hammered on. Notice the term hammered on. That's the side that goes to the hammer, right there. Again, upside down. Pull the firing pin and spring out. Pull that out of there. Go ahead and knock our pin out last little bit. Notice what I did there. That's always a good little way to go about it. If you got something soft to put it on, I just made me a little area where I could knock that through. I wouldn't do any heavy hammering like that, but something like what I was just doing, knocking that pin the rest of the way out, that'll be fine. And we should, on these extractors, should be able to take our detent right there and our detent there, get a pick down in here onto the detent, and what we want to do is pull that back to where we've made a little bit of slack in it, and then we should be able to get the extractor out. I'm going to enlist the help here of a third hand for holding this. There we go. And you can see that I've got that pick down in there. Get a little bit of space. That's all I need. Just a touch of space. I highly recommend that you use some type of eye protection when you're doing this, which I'm going to don these goggles because they're the closest thing to me. Woo! See how we've got it turned just slightly sideways there now? And I'm also going to put up this box right here. You can't see it, but I'm putting it up as a catch. And whenever you get that detent back out of the way and twisted, I'm going to try and lift this up to show you guys. See, I was able to press that down with my right finger. Pull the detent out. Alright, now for the other side. This is actually going to be the right side, the side closest to the ejection port. And it'll basically be the same deal. This one's much stronger. There's a much stronger spring in it. I'm going to see if I can get a flat head on it. What I'll do is try and push it down, and then see if I can get my punch in on top of it. Alright, I'm going to have to wiggle this little bugger out of there. Boy, something's got a hold of that one down in there. Maybe it's part of this ejector here. I don't know. But this whole system is just a little strange. There we go. You can see there I got it wedged back just a little bit. Just enough to where now I think that I can get my punch in there and flip the extractor out. Now what this tells me is that this is not going to be fun going back in. And my box just caught my extractor. Try and think ahead. Often, if you guys watched any of my videos, I'm guilty of not doing that. Let me show the difference here in the two detents there for the extractors. This one on this side is the would actually be the left hand side, the side inboard of the receiver. This one right here is the one that you can actually see through the ejection port. And the two notches there, they go towards the actual ejector, or the extractor, I mean, whatever. So anyways, a few more parts to clean up there. Yeah, these, they look like they're both in, well, let's see here. There we go. They look like they're both in pretty decent shape. So I'm going to continue on with my original theory that if I just clean this sucker up, get all the gunk out of it, put it back together, frog lube it, this thing's going to run like a top. So go ahead and get the other spring out of there. And something's got to be holding this spring in. I want it out of there so I can check it, but it's in there so tight, I'm sure that I'm going to end up having to replace it. And I can find no pins or anything that's responsible for holding this. So it must just be very tight and tightly put in there by its base. There we go. Woo! Goodness. Well, that little thing was in there. Must be like a, on an AR, for the extractor there, how it runs the, or the, Lord, I've had a brain fart. Your disconnector, how it runs the large end of the spring down, you got to kind of seat it in there. Well, either way, thanks for watching. This has been the entirety of the disassembly on this one, and I'll post up a reassembly before too long after I frog lubed it. Appreciate you watching. I'm going to give you a little update on this particular piece here. What I'm doing to drive the pin out is I've compressed it. It's spring loaded. I've compressed it in this clamp, and then I'm driving the pin out. So you got to be able to come up with some way to compress that so you can get it out of there. Little bitty pin goes through there. We will not be putting that little pin in the ultrasonic cleaner. Got to pull out your punch. You want to push down to punch out, and then release your pressure. That little pin goes right down through there. Now these two will throw in the ultrasonic, but not that little bitty pin. It's going straight to the parts bin.